What's up, y'all? It's Jam and Sam, and today we're going to talk about the Donkey Kong 2 soundtrack and what goes into it and how it works and why it works. And I know this has been long awaited, so let's get started. We're going to start with the title theme. Rool Returns is the official title. And so let's check out these strings we have right here, which is driving the beginning. Let's see, but first, welcome Sabo Tinder. Hype. Thank you. Welcome, Paulo Galindo. Welcome, Mario's Final Adventure. Good to see y'all in here. We got a good crowd in here. Okay. Welcome, Jack. So, we got these strings here. Let's check them out. Wait, not those. So this is pretty much going from, this is just going, we're establishing a third here. And I can see from the ghost notes that we're establishing D minor. So we're going from D minor to A sharp to B flat minor to B flat major. And this is a theme that is very similar to the opening theme to Hook by John Williams, the movie. So that's definitely where this took inspiration for. Good day, No Name SD. Welcome. Aaron, hey, was waiting for you to return from last time. Oh yeah, sorry. Last time I got caught up with a lot of stuff and ended up not. I got to get better at saying, like knowing when I can't return. Sorry about that. I switched from another nice stream for this Kino. DKC commands me. Welcome, Serenimus. Welcome, Aaron. Okay, so in this song, we are pretty much we should have this string line, and then we go here. So we're pretty much playing with like a D minor. Oh, we're inverting it. And then here we go to like a 4-1-4-1, which is common in folk music, particularly Irish folk music, which is kind of, pirates are Irish heritage, so it's like, so this is a G minor, but it's inverted so that there's a D on the bottom, so you don't have as much movement going from D minor to G minor. Instead of going, we have that minimal movement. And then we have this E major here. So it's basically, this is not in the scale. Normally it would be like E diminished. E would be a diminished chord here in the key of D minor. But instead we're making it major. And then we're going to A major, which is also not in the scale, but it would be A minor instead. So, but we're using that leading tone to resolve back to D minor. So, this means that this is also kind of a round chord progression because we're going from D minor and then we're jumping up to E, but we're following the circle of fifths to go from E to A, E major to A major, and then we're following it again to go back to D minor. So what that means is that we have E, A, D is all the same distance. That's a circle of fifths chord progression, like movement. So we're following, it's sort of like a resolution, round resolution. 10 euros from Sabo Tinder. Thank you, Sabo Tinder. Welcome. Let's see. Cool stream. Thank you, Random. I never made that connection. I learned there's much American folk music and Celtic origin or influence. Yes, this is definitely like a Celtic influence piece. The Hook connection. Yes, this is also very inspired by Hook. If you listen to the opening theme to Hook, you'll immediately recognize like how the intro is kind of inspired by here. Okay, so we have this line, right? G minor, D minor, D major, A major, and then we kind of do it again. And then we kind of, so this is still E major, to A major, we're just doing it a little differently. He's kind of climbing up here. It's kind of making a climax here. So that's pretty much what we're doing here. And then we have, and this is another part of the song, we have this, that's like a little riff that he does to connect the bridge. So here, and then here we have these lower strings. These are more like violas here. So we're doing D minor and F, so we're doing the bottom of that chord. And we're following this this sort of gallop rhythm, right? So it's like, so we're using the one in terms of the number of beats, we're using one and E to, and then it's sort of complicated. It's like da 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 da. It's in thirds, so we're using, here's three steps, and then we're in the 2 steps, 3 to 2, 3 to 2. Yeah, something like that. It's basically a 1-2, so we're doing thirds a little bit. It's sort of like a swingy chord progression, because you could also do, here's thirds here, it's also conforming to the thirds. But it's basically a gallop chord progression. Fantastic stream for cleaning right now. Welcome, FD8. You're welcome. Let's go. Welcome, Eduardo Espinoza. All right, so we're doing the bottom of the chord here, and then we're still making this movement up to up to G minor, so 4. So we're still going with, we're sort of completing this chord. 1 4 1 4 1 5. So, and this would technically be a 2 major, 2 major, 5 major. So, and then we go back to 1. So there's that 5 to 1 at the end there. Done. So 2 5 1. This is technically a 2 5 1 chord progression, which is common in jazz, except that it's breaking the scale a bit. So it's like 2, and it's in the context of a major piece, so which in the 2 in the major piece would be diminished, but instead we're making it major to avoid that. And to make it exciting, we're making both of these things major. So it's a 2 5 1. 2 5 1. That's very nice. And then we have this, we're going, then we go legato in these strings. It's the same strings patch from the Wade station. And we're doing some kind of fun stuff. So, and then there's 1 4 1 1 4 1, and then we do this climb up, right? It's like we do G minor. It's still going back to 4, and then we're kind of climbing up back to D. This is the 1, D minor, and then we're going to the 3rd here, and then we go to this E major, climb it up a bit. This is also the E major, and then we resolve to the A. So we're just kind of playing around with the chord and like rising up. So we're giving it this rise up. Da, da, da. And then we go, so we're starting the chord progression over again, but we're kind of using that A sharp here, which is kind of like the sub, it's like going back, if this was like a B flat 7 chord, this would be used here. So we're playing around with D minor here, and then we go to, here's the 4 again, the G minor. We're going back to the D minor, except with this F sharp here. Oh, this is actually that section where it's like we're following the circle of fifths. I'll get to that later. But then we have this. So we're hanging out on D here, on D minor, basically. 4 1 D G D A E A. So it's, and then we hit the rest of that after. So then the rest of this we have in this upper part of the harmony we have this harp, right? That is not playing for some reason. Why is this harp not playing? Oh, because I don't have the have it muted out. So we have this. We're basically following the same notes as before with this. So we're kind of hopping between B flat major and D minor. So it's kind of this like whimsical, like we're bouncing between thirds really fast. And then we hop from G minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, E major, A. So we're following that same chord progression, but on that A major at the end, we're doing a harp sweep up the scale. And this is actually following a, what is this? This is D major. So we're actually following the major key. So it's sort of like we're modulating to D major for just a second. This is actually not the minor. This is D major. So that's what's that doing. And then we have this bell sweep in the beginning here with the glockenspiel. That's sort of like a bell tree move. It's just a chromatic slide down, like you're like, because they have this instrument where you're like moving a stick across a bunch of bells. It's called a bell tree. But that's kind of that kind of whimsical intro. And then you have a flute up here, like an Irish penny whistle sort of thing. He really goes all out with the Irish penny whistle thing in this soundtrack. Again, following this like this minor second movement. Very cool. And this time we don't even have the G. We only have one note, so it's just gonna keep bouncing between the. See, there's the G minor, the G minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, E major, and then we do some more arpeggios here to make it pick up pace. So we're arpeggiating the E major to A major. That's pretty cool. That's basically the chord progression that's going on here, and then we have this melody coming in. Let's see. I've been streaming your DKC2 restorations almost daily while playing games. Well, thank you, Stephen. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Is it cool? I gotta watch the previous ones. Never mind. I saw them all. Nice. Welcome, Aiza. I love learning about inspirations for game music, like how the SMB1 theme came from Sister Marion by T-Square, or Super Mario World Overworld was from Green Green, and Sonic was from Dream Come True. I did know about the T-Square thing, but I didn't know about Green Green and Sonic. I'm not even familiar with the original song, so I don't. Is the yellow vinyl still obtainable? It is not obtainable. I don't even have any more, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't know if they'll sell anymore. It's not as far as I know. You can do like a Google search. Just generally don't use Amazon because they like to say they have stuff in stock when they don't. It's like just independent sellers. You're a bell game. You're a bell game, glockenspiel. Okay. You speak in music terminology. Dudes like me understand none of that. You studied for it? I did study on my own. I pretty much just did research and like found my way through it. I was self-taught. I didn't have any formal education. Oh, did I just hear sticker bush? I don't think so. I don't think there's any sticker bush in this piece because sticker bush is like it's like F major 7. It would be, and then like G major, and then G major inverted, and then A major 7, G major, and then back to F. So there's not really any connection with sticker bush as far as I can tell. You're amazing, my friend. Thank you, Rich Studio. Is the yellow vinyl still? No, it's not. Unfortunately, I don't have any copies of the Donkey Kong Country vinyl anymore. Sorry to say that. But let's go back to, let's see. I hope I was finding your theory of Northern Hemisphere and Minecart Madness, but you jumped to DKC2. We can go back to DKC1 on another stream and do those themes if you like after this one. Maybe today, maybe not. Today we'll have to see what comes. But anyway, so this section is definitely following like this folksy chord progression of like what's a good instrument to do that? I'll do this on the strings. I can. So it's like, and then, so it's 2, 5, 1, 2 major, 5 major, 1 minor. That's a chord progression that's used throughout the soundtrack, actually, if you really listen to it. So then we have this melody coming in at about halfway through here. We have these French horns. Nice. So we have this melody come in here. And this melody is roughly following the chord progression because we have D minor. This is this is basically just playing between the D minor on the root and the third. And then we jump to G, which is the 4. This is where the 4 happens, the G minor. So we're going to that, we're hitting the G on that G minor. And then we're jumping back down to D really quickly, which is what the chord progression does. D, G, D, A. So we're kind of following that chord progression, going G minor, D minor, hitting that that third and then to the root. So we're kind of like da, 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 da. We're doing this like move, go up and then down. And then we're going up to G, da, da, da. Then we go back down to that familiar third to 1. And then we go up to G and we do some more stuff like rising a little bit. Because we're going back to that G in the chords. We're basically outlining that G minor, or the 1 and the third. So we have this theme of like bouncing from 1 to the root to the third. And then we do that in G later on. And then we go down and hit that E for the E major chord, and then we go da da da. I think this is kind of technically in triplets because it's like da 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 da. It's technically the rhythm is in triplets because if we go back to that, we have this is basically no, actually it's not. It's da 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 da. It's kind of a strange melody. Da, 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 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. I could count it in 1 2 3s, and that's because it sort of starts over here. See, it's like it's actually in triplets, but it's within a contained bar of 4. So it's like this could be like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. And then we have this 1 here, and then it shifts back over, and it starts the rhythm over again. So it's like going in thirds. But it is kind of going in thirds in a way. But it's kind of strange. I'd have to study more into that. I'd like the second. Let's see, Clubber, yeah, Clubber. The title. Oh, Clubber's theme. No, okay. It felt similar a bit. Yes. Ooga Ooga. Welcome, Booker. Yeah, we can go for that one. Lower theme thing. Tower theme thing. Ah, yeah, the castle theme uses this chord progression actually too. If you listen into it, it's exactly the same chord progression almost. Clubber, yeah, this is called Clubber's Reveille because I'm doing it in the same project. I just changed the title as I'm exporting it, but I'm also doing because it's such a similar theme to Clubber's theme. I'm doing it in the same. I did it in the same project. I restored it. I'd like to second the idea of covering some more DKC1 sometime. Would love to hear Minecart Madness 2 and also Funky's Fuge. All right, we can cover that. Yeah, we can do that next. Now this theme is going. So with this melody here, we're pretty much outlining the chord progression, right? And so we have these French horns going, right? And then we do this harp bliss right here. And And then we have this boom, this horn hit. So what we're doing here is we have a bass, right? This is a string bass, like a single string bass. Dum. But I think it's supposed to be like a section. So you have the basses and the strings. And we're hitting a, what is this note? This is a G. So we're actually establishing G here. We're kind of hanging out in G. And then we have these drums. Oh. We have the timpani coming out here, like making this big hit as well. Also in G. Let's see. Actually, this is a D. We're hitting the timpani in D, I think. Yeah, so the timpani's hitting in D for like I think it's like a power chord thing. Oh no, the bass actually is also hitting in D. I don't know where I got G from. Let's see. I can't even see. Like, it's so many contrabasses, I can't even look at this. Okay, so this is hitting in D. We're basically going back to the 1 chord, the 1 minor. And so we have this hit. And then you have the tuba, like it's sort of the trumpet. This is a trumpet technically. But we're pitching it down. And it's sort of like a tuba or a sousaphone. So we're sort of doing this, we're repeating the same melody, but an octave lower. And instead of doing this like the French horns do, we're actually rising. We're starting on the G sharp, which is the 3rd of E major. And we're ending on the 3rd of the A major. So we're climbing up to finish off this, like to give it a grand sort of, this section sort of a grand finish. And then we go into, actually the bass also does some fun stuff here. So we're going for, in the bass, we're going from D and then going to G. We're doing this bounce. We're still following that G major to, like, see? We're still following, because here's the G. This is where we go to G minor, and then this is where we go back to D. And then we go back to G. So we're doing this, and then we go back to D again. So we're doing, whoops, where is that coming from? Oh, this is all the way up here, that's why. So we're going back to G to D minor. And then we go to E major here, so we're doing, this is the 3rd of E major, this G sharp, and then we go to B, this is the 5th, and then we go to the 3rd of A major, and then we go to the root of A major. So that's we're kind of just doing a riff around the chords here. And then with the drums, the timpani, which it also has a tuning, even though it's a drum, it's sort of like a tuned drum. We're going from D to G, and then we're following that bass with the, give it like this nice hit. So this section is like very booming, and then we have those strings continuing on. So we're following that, we're doing that walk up. We're starting low and climbing up, still staying within the chords to give it this sort of like finale, right? And then we also have this harp gliss here. This harp gliss is, what is this doing? It's going from, it's kind of climbing up the D major scale. It's doing like a, right here we're in sort of a D major again. So we're doing a climb up, a D major, but we're starting on A instead. This is a little bit different. We're going a little higher, so we're rising tension. And then here's this chill out section that we're going into. Let's see. Hey there, just noticed the chat. Is this a revised edition of the DKC2 OST? This is my restoration project, so I'm analyzing it in the project file of the restoration, so we can piece it apart. Epic brass moment. Welcome, Ciara Garrity. Welcome. What if you had what if you used a tuba instead of a trumpet? If you used a tuba, I don't know. It would depend on the tuba sample. So there's like this trumpet is from the M1, the Korg M1. So if we use the actual tuba sample from that instead of the trumpet, here's how it would sound. See, let's go to brass. Let's see, we've got a tuba somewhere in here. Tuba Flug 1. And this should be... Why isn't this playing? Crazy. I don't know why this isn't playing. Am I in like a different... Oh, I think I have to be... Oh, yeah. So here's the tuba sound. And it has some release on it for some reason. It sounds kind of like a sax, really. But that's also not really how an actual tuba sounds. So it's kind of like you're having some abstractness. Like a real tuba, if you wanted a real tuba, you could pull up a real tuba here. Let's see. But this one's more like a sousaphone anyway. The one that's being played in the game, it's functioning kind of as a sousaphone, I feel like. So here we could do solo tuba if I pull in my modern one. And then you could do, so it would sound like... That's pretty much what a real tuba would sound like. So it has that sort of same sort of ominous sound. Not a very strong fundamental though, right? See, the fundamental frequency, the real bass frequency, is not really as strong here. But this one has a very strong, like this trumpet sample, because the trumpet is up higher, it has a very much stronger fundamental frequency, so it's a lot darker and a lot bassier, and therefore a little bit more frightening. So I should actually cover that track again. I made an awful one like 4 years ago. I need to remake it somehow. I read the description now. Yeah, that would be cool. I love this track. It's definitely in need of a cover. I read the description, now I know what this vid's about. Cool. This bass is really similar to Luigi's Mansion, at least isolated. Nice. Maybe they use the same one. It wouldn't work, would it? So that sax doesn't hit. Yeah, that was a bad sample for the M1, I feel like, but the real tuba kind of gives that impression. I would just have to, like, what I would do if I was like covering this track, I would probably strengthen this fundamental frequency. Strengthen that bass tune to make it more menacing. But anyway, let's move on. So we have next this chill out section, right? Like we go from... So this one's a really, really nice, relaxing chill out section. So let's break it apart. And we're definitely going into some different chords here. So we're going into we're completely changing the chord progression. So let's see what the chord progression is. Let's isolate this one right here. So right now I can tell we have another, like, we have like we're going from, we have like a sort of B flat major chord. But I know from like my research that this chord progression is and that is like G minor, D minor, but I'll want to like analyze it as we go first. So this is like, we're sort of using this A minor, A sharp minor first here. And then we're going to G a little bit. So we're doing G and A sharp. And then we go like a C power chord to a D power chord. And then we have this element of E major and A major again. So we're still going back to that E major and E major to A major at the end for that resolution. Nice. So, and in the next thing we have here, we have this melody. So this part, this melody here, we're layering a music box, and like it's sort of a music box type thing, because music box always has like, this is octaves. It's going between octaves here with this sort of like emulating a music box, but this is the Fanta Bell from DK1. This is that sound. We're just going up, we're just playing it really high, and we're going up in octaves. And then we're layering it with some strings to give it some legato value, right? This is the wave station strings. And sort of the melody that we're doing here is... So we're kind of outlining a little bit of a G minor chord. Actually, no, this is more like this, like of a B flat major. We're kind of outlining that harmony that we created in the first bar, right? Or in the other strings, right? And then... Actually, I feel like it's sort of creating a... So, yeah, we are following this chord, outlining this chord progression of like G minor, D minor, and then G, E flat major, A flat major. So this D sharp is like not in the scale of D minor. So we are breaking the scale. We're modulating to, I feel like, G minor. So we're modulating to G minor here, which is a fifth above D major. So it's kind of easy to modulate from D minor to G minor because there's only one note difference. The only difference is instead of this E, we now flatten it to D sharp or E flat. But then after that, we definitely modulate back into this resolution. This E major to A major. So we kind of roll back to D minor like that. So I feel like the chords that are being outlined here is G minor, D minor, which is that 4-1 again, so we're starting with that 4-1. But then we're going to E flat major, which is the flat 2 of the scale, so we're kind of modulating. And then we're going to B flat major, and then C minor, because you see these three notes we're doing. So we're kind of outlining that chord. And then C minor. Da, 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 da. So we're kind of, and then this is the E major to A major. So kind of the motion that we're making here is we're doing what's it called? A fifth, circle of fifths? Where it's like we're going from G to D. That's a circle of fifths movement from G to D because it's a fourth apart. And then we go then we go a second up to E flat. But then we make that motion again down to A sharp major. So we're kind of going for a fourth down, a second up, a fourth down, a second up. So we're going in this. And this is also what was done in Jib Jig, if you remember. It's the exact same motion, just in a different key. So we're going down a fourth, going from G minor, down a fourth to D minor, and then up a second to E flat major, and then down a fourth to A flat to B flat major, and then we go up a second, this time a major second, to C minor, and then we go down a fourth to G minor, and then we do that resolution again, E major to A major. So it's sort of a circle of fifths, fourth down, second up, fourth down, second up at varying degrees. So that's kind of why that's a really good chord progression. I personally love that chord progression. This bass is, oh wait, it wouldn't work. The funny cutesy chill out section. Yes, I love this part. Is that the Ice Cave Frenzy? Yeah, that bell was from Ice Cave Chant. It's the same bell carried over from Donkey Kong 2 or Donkey Kong 1. That's cool. Quite possibly the greatest video game OST ever. Yes, I agree. So we have that melody going on, establishing this chord progression. And then in the bass, we are doing, let's see. We have these short bass notes. Oops. So this bass is just doing roots, right? Because we said the chord progression was G minor to D major, and then D sharp major to A sharp major, C minor to G minor to E major to A major. So this bass is just playing roots, firmly establishing the root chords. And so that pretty much establishes our chord progression as what I mentioned. Now the harmony here is doing some fun stuff. Instead of strictly staying in the G minor chord, in the chord progression, we're also using that A sharp. Remember, we sometimes use that A sharp in the key of D minor. It's sort of like a reverse seventh, like a negative sort of thing. But we're basically using a D minor here. And then we go into G minor. But we're also hitting this seventh. This F is the seventh of G minor. And then we have C minor here. And then we go from C minor to G minor. So here's the D. The D is the fifth of G minor. And then we're going from E major. So we have a fifth here. We're doing like fourths here in the chords. And then we're doing A major. So. And then we have that string riff I mentioned earlier that's basically just going, this is the third of E major, this G sharp. And then we're kind of climbing up a, this would be still in D minor, these notes here. Actually, this would be sort of different. So we're going up to D, and then we're going, so we're kind of in C major or A minor here a little bit. So that's cool. Now, there's another piece of the melody here that's going on. We have, so we have these pizzicato notes doing, let's see, where's my, okay, so we're doing D, Where is that? Ah, here we go. So we're doing a G minor here. But that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense very much because we're supposed to be in D minor here, so that's interesting. But it's okay because we're kind of like right by the time we get here, we're switching back to we've already switched to G minor, so we're kind of pre-gaming G minor. And then we're going, let's see, here is like, this is sort of that A major 7, or no, A sharp major 7 here, arpeggiated. And then we do an actual G minor here. No, this is actually D sharp major, so we're establishing that G sharp major. This is basically just the chord, just an arpeggio, outlining the chord. And then we're kind of outlining C major here. No, actually, this would be A sharp major here, so it would be... Yeah, so we're outlining A sharp major here. And then we go to C minor, the root and the third. And then we go do... This is G minor here. We're outlining G minor. And then that's kind of how that goes. Now this flute here is we're doing D. So it's once again D and F. We're doing a lot of like D and F, and then A sharp, and A sharp and A. So it's kind of like what we did with Fear Factor, where we're playing with that major 7 chord. It's sort of like we're running around that. Oh, I see. So that track's so it's that track's samples. Yeah, it's like it's the same samples carried over from the previous game. Welcome, Pablo Celis. Welcome to the stream. Then comes the Clubba theme. Yeah. Yeah, the Clubba theme was cool. This is really cool to see broken down, Sam. Thank you. You're welcome, Chad. Welcome to the stream. Hello, I love your work. Thank you, Lewis. Welcome to the stream. Now we have this section which eventually becomes Clubba's theme. Yeah, so this one, let's check out this the drums here first. We have the tuned timpani playing a riff, and basically what we're doing here is we're outlining a D minor chord, right? We're starting on D, going up to the F, which is the 3rd, then we go back down to D, then we go down to A, which is the 5th. That's a D minor chord. Now, this part of the track, particularly Clubba's theme, is heavily inspired by Dance of the Nights from the Romeo and Juliet suite. Composed by Sergio Prokofiev. So listen to that one, Dance of the Nights by Sergio Prokofiev. If you just search Dance of the Nights Romeo and Juliet, it'll come up too. But it's basically this same riff, like da-run, 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 that same kind of riff right there. And we have these snares doing this sort of thing here. We have where it's like doing a little bit of a roll and then stopping. Bom, bom, doing it in the rests. So it's accenting that what the woodwinds are going to be doing. And the woodwinds are doing this sort of, we're climbing up from D to A as like a power chord. It's like a trill, really. And it's going in, it's directly being layered with the snare. So when you have the drums going on at the same time, it's like this hit. And it's just repeating that D to A right there. So, and what we're doing in the bass is directly mirroring the timpani. So the timpani and the bass are layered. We're doing this D, D, A, F, D, A sharp, A. So, and then we start doing this riff where it's like da 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 da. So we're basically reprising the main melody here, right? Yeah, for a brief moment. And then in the main melody, we're layering this bass with the tuba to give it more of like a brass sound. It gives it more weight, right? Nice. And then with the strings, we're doing a little harmony here, right? So we're giving it that same like boom and then like going up. So we're going doom dun doom dun. It's like these low lows and these high highs. So it's sort of like a big stack, right? And so these strings, we're going up. We're always going up to D. So we're having that established D like with the flute. So if you go with this, plays off the flute really well. It sort of drives that hit forward with the flute and the snare. So that's how kind of a little subtle thing. But then the bottom note is playing around with playing around in that D minor, right? So this is all like a straight up D minor chord. So it's all kind of playing around with D minor here. We're not changing any chords. We're just doing a big booming D minor melody. And then we do some interesting stuff here. With the bass, with the timpani, we're doing the riff. We're following the melody because this is the final part of the tune. So it's like we have to like drive it home like with this hard-hitting timpani. So we're doing in the timpani. So we're sort of outlining a G minor chord, right? And then we're going to D, which is that 4-1, you know, with that element of like da 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 da. We're outlining that 4-1. And then we're going to E again. But this time it's staying within the D minor scale. So we're going from that E to A, doing that resolution again. So we're sort of keeping the same chord progression, basically. And then we have like a roll there. That's sort of a really bad sounding timpani roll. I don't know why he didn't do anything with velocity there. That would make it feel more natural. But anyway, in the melody, we have the tuba basically doing the same thing. So we're going just like the timpani, but here we're doing like an A sharp, sort of build tension, right? And then we resolve to A. So it brings that finality of the note. Nice. And then in the strings, we have this. Nice. So we're further establishing that chord progression, right? That chord progression that we've been using throughout the song. G minor, D minor, and then, we're actually going to as a diminished chord this time. So that gives it a lot of tension, right? So instead of going to E major, we're going to C sharp diminished, which is cool. We can still recognize it as a reprise of the main chord progression because these two, well, it was E sharp major, but it's almost the same because we're going from here. Sort of similar. We still keep that E note the same. And then we resolve to what's this? We have an even more tense chord here. This is basically a diminished 7 chord without the E. So it's like a fully diminished 7, so we're really building tension here. And then we're going down to... What's this? So this is basically just a cluster of notes right here. This is a... It's basically... I think it's like A major 7. So we are ending on that A major again. But we're leaving out the E here. And we're putting the root note up here for more tension. It's more tense if you put the notes closer together. So we're kind of ending on that A major 7, but without the fifth, so it feels more tense. It's not really anchored in any way. Nice. Pretty masterful writing here. Lots of tension there. We're getting a lot of tension for the end. This is really cool to see, bro. Hello, I love your work. Oh yeah, this is what. Okay, so, and that pretty much covers the clubba theme. We can touch on the clubba theme right here real quick. It's pretty much the same thing. See, we still have this, and then we start to go with the melody, right? But that's kind of cool that we established that E. We changed the melody up a little bit here. So we're kind of ending on an E note instead of on the D again. And then we do so we're kind of doing that walk up from E to A again. And then let's see what else we got going. We have the bass following it pretty much. It's doing the same notes, right? And then one cool thing is that we didn't have in the other theme, we have these strings. And this is kind of something that was being done in Dance of the Nights. It's very similar to the Dance of the Nights. If you listen to that, they had this kind of string arpeggio going around here, and it's basically an arpeggio following the rhythm, like we're having that dun 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 dun, or we're following the chord notes because it's going G minor, right? And then we're going G minor to D minor. So it kind of seems like we're going backwards here. We're starting on G minor, and then we're going to D minor, instead of the other way around. Oh wait, actually no, we are starting in D minor, because I had the place wrong. So we're starting in D minor, and we're going on an arpeggio with that. So this is a straight up D minor arpeggio. Then we go up to the 4th. And then we go up to the 4th briefly, and then back down to D minor. And then we go up to G minor again. So we're doing that 1-4-1-4 rapid change thing that we did in the first one. Oh wait. And then we go to E. And then down to A major. But we hit that 7th too for a brief moment. G is the 7th of E of A major, so we're hitting that 7th a little bit for the last time there. Cool. And then we do the same thing over again, right? And so here we have our piccolo again, same as before. And then we have these strings, but this time where we only used one in the theme, we're now doubling it. So we're doing a power chord here, right? So instead of and you have this same kind of thing happening where we're going from, we're keeping the power chord in the strings at the top, and then we're playing with D minor around here. So we have a D minor, a D power chord, and then we have an octave F, and then it sounds so ominous. And then we have that same power chord again, but inverted. And then we're just kind of playing around with that, going from D to F, and then we go to G here, right? Because here's the part where we're in the 4. We're starting out just staying in D minor here, but the rest of the song is going off to G, I feel like, because right here, but we're not doing that in this thing. We're just kind of holding the D minor, which is okay. But the melody is also hitting that G minor, is outlining that one. But we start out just having that D, right? Just having that D minor. Then we have G minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, E major, A major. So he sort of gives it in the same way as the beginning of the title theme. He gives it that D minor. He gives it that just a straight D minor chord, and then goes into like the 4-1. Give it sort of, so there's not so much movement right off the bat. We have sort of an easing into that. That addition at the end of the track with that new drum, with the new drum roll sounds. Oh, I can hear the Dance of the Night's inspiration. Yeah, it's pretty easy to hear. It's pretty wild how he there's all these Easter eggs. Like he basically took really close inspiration to like these various tunes that nobody knew about. Really cool. It's also kind of what John Williams did. You can hear a lot of like tidbits from actual orchestral suites in his scores. It's really nice. Okay, and then we're basically doing the same thing in the timpani snare combo. So that carries over. I actually use the same pattern pretty much, and then we do some more stuff here, right? So we're kind of doing some new notes here. We're going like to. But we're actually going to G here. So we're following that G minor to D minor change. G, D, G, and then A, because the A is the 5th of D minor. And then we're doing that E, and then A for the finale. Yep. So, and then we go into this section where there's a trumpet melody, right? So we have this, we drop the bass, there's no bass in this section. We have this. So we're basically just going from A to A sharp to A. Sort of like that G minor to D minor change. So we have that element of like 4-1. And then we do this walk down where we're going back down to D to establish the D minor whenever we go back to the beginning. So it's like da, 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 da. It's a very strong resolution. It's like a popular minor cadence where you basically just walk down from the 5th of the minor scale, then hit every diatonic note along the way. You'll hear that a lot even in popular music. So that's pretty cool. Now in the strings, we do this. Right, so we're actually kind of establishing like B flat major here, and then we go to G. And then actually here we're establishing that A major again, which is interesting. So this is like B flat major, G minor, A, which is B flat is like the 6th of the scale. So we have 6, 4, 5, 6, 4, 6, 4, 5. That's what I'm seeing so far. And then but the arpeggio strings will tell us more. So let's see what we've got in the arpeggio strings. So this is A sharp major, definitely. We're going. So, and then we're going to G minor. So that is pretty much what we're doing. We're going 6, 4, 5, but we're also hitting that 7th up here with this G. So it is 6, 5, 6, 4, 5. Yeah. 6, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5. So we're doing like a new chord progression here. Definitely. And then we're holding on that chord progression for that resolution. So instead of just going right into that dun 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 dun, he keeps holding on this trumpet, right? To build tension, because you expect a resolution right then and there. This is 5 bars. The standard is 4. Like, we usually want to keep it even and go in 4 bars, but he's holding a bar here because he's holding off on that expected resolution, right? Until another bar. So it's like to take away what you expect, like to deny you of what you expect, and then to give you what you expect. Wow, this is the wrong tune. Why is this this trumpet is out of tune for some reason. Why is this trumpet out of tune? There it is. Okay. I don't know why that happened, but... So here we have this A sharp. But the fact that we're going to A here... so this was... Oh no, this is the A is the 5th. So that's that change. So we're going... So that's that resolution to E. So we have sort of a resolution where we're going from B flat to G to A major. So it's sort of like this. We're breaking the scale here. We're using the leading tone in D. Da, 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 da. Very minor chord progression, even with that leading tone. So, and then we hold off on this instead of resolving on the... So it's sort of like we're expecting it to be resolved here, right? That would be expected, right? But we're doing... And then we're introducing that bass again, because we have a bass in the beginning, right? Whenever we roll over, so we're doing... So that's a really strong resolution, right? Because we're doing... Very, very, like, gives you this feeling of doom, right? And then we just roll over to the beginning. Let's see, John Williams in Donkey Kong Country. Yeah, this is very much John Williams inspired. I think, especially if you consider the hook theme, but it's also Russian orchestra inspired with Sergei Prokofiev's influence. So it's kind of like a combination. I remember when I first heard the similarities between Bayou Boogie and Coming in the Air Tonight. I can see the other music references are so prominent. Yes, you just really have to look into it. $50 from the Thurk. Well, thank you, the Thurk. Wow, amazing. I love it. Thank you for the $50. Very nice, $50. Yes, thank you. All right, I see you're enjoying the stream so far. That's great. Okay, so that's pretty much that song, and now we will move on to what is the next one. The next one I think would be I want to cover the what's it called? The menu theme, Steel Drum Rhumba, because I feel like that one takes some influence from the DK theme. That's what kind of the DK theme's second evolution into DK2. And because I want to point out how this one has taken inspiration from the DK theme. It's hard to hear, but once you hear it, you'll notice. We can save this, yeah, because I fixed some stuff. To drink some water, man. My throat is drying up. Get to drink water. Oh yeah, that feels good. Been listening to your DKC2 reworks for years now while working. Thanks for continuing to do stuff like this. You're welcome. I'm glad they helped you help make work more bearable, right? Help you focus. Nice. So, steel drum rumba. I have to remember we started steel drum rumba at 1 hour and 6 minutes. And so this one, let's start with the bass first, right? And it's not showing up. Oh, because I have to fix contact here. Contact is messing up a bit. Contact is so bad with like finding new like finding when things change. I literally just have to point it to like, hey, this is where everything exists. Go and find it. But I can't even find it. See, it's like so bad. Oh, it's looking for the congas. Wow. And it's still not even finding it. Wow, that's so stupid. Contact is such a dumb plugin when it comes to like certain things. Here's the congas, right? You see them now? Okay, now it knows where everything is. Finally. Okay, so this theme, we're going to do the bass first because the bass sort of establishes everything. So this one... So it starts out with this like riff. Before getting into it, right? We have like a bar and this bar is firmly established in F major, right? Which is what the DK theme was established in, right? Your cam went blurry. Oh yeah, my cam sucks, man. It's like it does this like autofocus thing. And it never asks me if I want to do autofocus, right? It just does it. So I have to remove autofocus before every stream and it resets. I have to set the focus manually. I want it to stay exactly at this focus. I don't want it to change, but it still continues to change every stream. Technology is dumb, man. They can sound even better. They sound even better on a record player. Thank you, Marco. I'm glad you like the vinyl. You're so cute. Thank you, Logan. Thank you with the heart. That's very flattering. All right, so we're playing around in this F major chord, right? Or F5. And the Donkey Kong theme started in F, so that's a further indication that this is like the final evolution, not the final one, but the DK2 evolution of the original Donkey Kong theme, right? We're staying in F. And then we go to B flat major. Right? This is a power chord in a B flat, A sharp. And then we go to G minor, right? C major, which is basically the same round chord progression that the original thing took. So we're going, I can do this. We're going like F, and then down to A sharp, and then G major. So we're going up, we're going like down this is like a circle of fifths movement, right? If we go from F to A sharp, which is what the original did, and then we go dun, dun. This is like 1-4, and then we go down to 2. This is like breaking it. We're going down a third, right? And then we make a circle of fifths movement from G to C. And then we go to A minor, right? So we're going down a third again. And then we go back down to, we're going up a second to back up to A sharp major. and then we do F again. We're doing this resolution in F, F, C, F, just like the original did. So we're going 1-5-1 here. So it's a lot of movements. It's a lot of fifths, and then seconds or third movements, and then fifth, second, and third, just like kind of what we did with the theme, that one part where it was like. So, but it's basically the DK theme did exactly that. With that same bass line, and then we've got all the percussion doing its thing. This is a clave. This is a Latin percussion instrument. And this is a very Latin song. It's a very, like, I don't know if I think it's Brazilian. It feels very Brazilian. But I might be wrong. Actually, if they're using a clave, I don't think Brazilian music uses this because this is definitely a montuno. Or a, yeah, whatever they call that, montuno. I think they call this a montuno. Da, 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 da. This is the traditional rhythm of Latin America, and it is played by a clave, so it's basically just a montuno. I think they had a specific name for this, but it might just be a montuno. Da, 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 da. So what you're doing is you're going in thirds here. You're having having 3 notes in thirds, and then but it's in 4/4. It's in fours. It's not in thirds, but you're using thirds. And then you have this space here, and then you correct it back to a fourth because you're using the 4th beat here. This is like a step. We're doing 3s, and then we suddenly jump back to 2. So it's like kind of like a polyrhythm in different parts. Da, 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 da. So if you put the metronome on here, you hear how it's lopsided in the beginning. And that sort of lopsidedness, that sort of semi-offbeatness really drives it forward until you have that resolution at the end. So it's going offbeat, and then it's like so it's tension and release, basically. So that kind of keeps on repeating, right? We're repeating that for the whole song. And then you have this. These congas. And this is because you had this rhythm, right? You had this. So you have this like sort of sparse rest here. You're going in like, we're going in 4s here. So we're counteracting those thirds by going in 4th. We're going in 8th notes here. And then we do this sort of like a little bit of thirds here. We're going on the offbeats here. We're syncopating, and we're giving it, like, making it longer. And then we're catching that and going back to the rhythm again. And then it's just straight 8th notes all the way through, right? Straight 8th notes. So we're picking up. We're starting with a little bit of rhythm, and then we're picking up the pace. And then you just keep on picking it up. So we're starting with a small rhythm with some space in it, and then we pick it up. So now this. Oh no, that's later on. So then we have this guitar here. This is the bass guitar, basically, but it's played up high, so it's like sort of a clean acoustic guitar. All right, let's see. Okay, so we got some conversation here. Thank you for your dedication to this series and the wonderful music by Wise. It's always a joy to see more stuff by you. Thank you, Dahin. I can't see very well. I'm not sure how to say that, but thank you. Maybe changing the lighting will improve the camera. The resolution of the camera did get better just a second ago. It's also on auto aperture, so everything's on auto here, which causes some problems. But there's no lighting change. I only have one light in my room. I'd have to like buy a new light, but it shouldn't be too distracting as long as the focus stays in. So Marco FD, you would have to commission. Yes. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome question, thought of doing the Mystical Ninja. Yes, you would have to commission. You would have to like sign a commission for this work, because I can't do these for free anymore. I just don't have the time, unfortunately. Love your work. Thanks for doing this. You're welcome, MKYay. Welcome to the stream. This sounds like the jellyfish dance from SpongeBob. Oh, that da 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 da. Yeah, the jellyfish dance from SpongeBob had some Latin influence, You're talking about when they have that song at the end where it is like Gary has this like his eyes bounce, right? And his eyes do this clave. That's actually a clave also. That clave is that sound of like they use for Gary's eyes hitting a rhythm. It's basically it's a clave. Clave is like two wooden sticks that you tap together and it makes this like nice clicking sound. That's basically the sound they use and the rhythm they use for Gary's like hitting of the eyes is like a clave as well. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool reference to Latin music. Let's see. I gotta head out soon, unfortunately, but I look forward to watching the rest when I get back. Thanks for doing these, Sam. Don't forget DKC1. Will do, Aaron. Thank you, and have fun. Exactly what I was thinking of. The Montuno is the Caribbean matching. Oh yeah, it is kind of Caribbean. So the Montuno is used in Caribbean music as well. I didn't know that. Yeah. It's kind of a Caribbean. It is very much a Caribbean thing, but it's also got some Latin elements too. I don't think that was used in Latin in Caribbean music, clave, but we do have a lot of Caribbean going on here. It's sort of like a tropical theme, like he's doing something tropical with this, right? So in the guitar, we have, let's see, just say it like how you would Great Dane. Great Dane. Ah, Great Dane. So it's Dane. Okay. Very nice. Love it. So this so it's like we're sort of playing with this seventh, like the E is the seventh of F major, right? We're going from root to seventh to fifth. And then we go into the main swing. We just keep repeating this. So we're doing. Where's that guitar? And we just keep repeating that for the whole song. Even as the chord progression changes, this riff keeps repeating in F. Why? Because we're so used to this riff now, we don't even mind it if it's changing with the chords. And another factor that makes that okay is that it's up so high. You could not get away with doing this in the bass. If you tried to do this down here, like I can't even hear it anymore for some reason. It would cause some problems because you're doing it so low, and it's easier to have chords like non-chordal tones in the higher notes. Like if, let's say you do a power chord, right? You do a chord here, right? This chord sounds nice. You do this C major, but if you go down an octave, it starts to sound a little bad. So it sounds a little bad if you can even hear this. But it sounds really gross. And then so you usually do like a power chord here. Okay, so if you leave out a note, it sounds better. That's why electric guitars do a power chord here. It would probably sound better if we do it in the marimba. So right, so this doesn't sound great. But if you remove that third, and it starts to sound good again. But then if you go down an octave, now it sounds a little bad again because we're going down so low. You're gonna have to do octaves down here. So the higher you get up, the closer you can make the notes without sounding dissonant. So he can kind of do this up high because he has this guitar and playing treble, right? And it is the one chord, so we don't mind as much if you're repeating this even as the chord changes. It's still the home key. So even while we have this bass going, it's staying the same, it's staying in F. Partly because we're familiar with it, and partly because it's a treble instrument. So that's kind of why that works. Next we have this cowbell, right? And so this is like kind of a, this is sort of a Caribbean rhythm, I feel like. And we're doing a lot of syncopation here, right? We're doing like, the odd beats is like on, right? So we have 1 and 2, and then you have an odd beat here, another odd beat here, and here. So we're going on the on beats here with these first two, right? And then we go off beats, and then we go on beats again, And then we have one offbeat there. So it's sort of like tension and release. So we're doing syncopation and then no syncopation. Or no syncopation and then syncopation. So it's another tension and release. And then if you combine this with the other rhythm instruments, it kind of really drives you forward because you have this tension and release going on. So it's sort of like a master class in how to compose Latin rhythms. And then you have this gyro here. And what this thing is doing is we have just a straight 4/4 rhythm, right? Like there's a little bit of syncopation. These notes are all syncopation, but it's not changing. It's going by the quarter note. So it's repeating every quarter note, and there you have, it's further establishing it in 4. So we're kind of grounding the rest of these percussions that are all kind of doing their own thing. Right? This is like our grounding instrument. It's basically almost like our kick in a way, because it's giving us a 4/4 rhythm and it's grounding us in that, while the others are kind of doing a lot of syncopation. That's pretty cool. This is mostly percussion. We have this then we have this sax melody here. Right, so this is outlining the chord progression. We start out in F, right, and we're doing the third. We're doing the third and the root. And then we do da da do. And what do we go to? What's our chord here? We're doing like F, A sharp major. So we're kind of using this G as an accidental. Da da do. And so we're hitting the 5th and the 3rd here. Right? Needs more cowbell. Yes, I remember that skit. That SNL is great, man. I put my AC on here. Are the marimbas implying steel drums? I think they are. We'll get to that in a second, but I do believe they're supposed to be like steel drums. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's definitely like a line you would see on steel drums. And it's definitely a Caribbean piece. So I think it's implying steel drums, just like Frankie's theme did in the first one. So we have this. We're establishing this chord change here, but we're also going to G. We're using G as like an accidental. And then we go with this G minor change here. This is the 3rd and the root again, so we're established just like we did with the F. We're doing the 3rd and the root again, just a little bit higher. And then here we go to, I believe we go to C major here. So we're going da da. But we're going to A. A is outside of the chord tone, but it's fine. And then we're going to A minor, so we're doing once again the root and the 3rd. So it's sort of like a tension and release thing where we're sticking to the chord, but then we're going root and 3rd. Well, actually, it's not really a tension and release. We're going root 3rd, right? Root 3rd in F, root 3rd, 5th. 3rd in A sharp. So we are including some tension here. We're not hitting the 3rd. We're not hitting the root here. And then we're hitting the root again with this G. And then we're doing basically the root to the sort of like, this is like not even a chord tone. A. Going to the A, right? And then we do and then we go root to 3rd to root again with this A minor. And then we go da 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 da. This one's really passionate, right? Like we're going up. Da da da. What is our chord here? I don't even remember. And then I feel like I think we're going back to F here. No, we're going back to A sharp. So we're going A sharp here, and then we're basically just doing a riff. This is the third to 5th to, no, 3rd to 5th again. We're doing 3rd to 5th, and at this point we're going back to F, so we're doing root 3rd again in a lower octave. Actually, this is the same octave as before. We're basically going back to what we did here. So here is where we switch to C sharp, say C major. So that's why we're going to this E here. We're establishing root to fifth of C major here, and then we go back to F. But we're like playing with the seventh here by going down, right? But we're basically resolving. Cool. So that's kind of what's happening here. And then the rhythm that we're doing here, see, we're kind of playing around with like syncopation again, because this is like the on beat, right? And this is the off beat. So da da da, and then we're kind of moving in thirds, right? Because we got a 3 going on here. We're repeating this sort of in thirds. So this is 6 steps, right? This is 6 steps, and then we sort of reset it by going on the on beat. So we have like thirds, thirds, and then 2s. So that's an even. We're going odd to even. So that's like syncopation to and this here we're starting on the on beat, right? And then we have syncopation here, and we have an off beat here. Da da da. We have thirds here, basically. We're counting in 3. Da da da. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then we have a rest. And then we're kind of repeating that. Da da da. We're doing da 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 da. Da, 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 which is exactly the clave rhythm that we did here. So if you sort of put these side by side, so we're kind of playing around with that clave rhythm in the melody, which is really cool. So that's kind of how he wrote that. He's basically taking a clave rhythm and he's like, I'm going to make a melody out of this by bouncing in thirds. So it's sort of fun and it's emotional because we're bouncing in thirds. So it's a lot of third intervals there. Makes it very fun, makes it happy, you know? And then we have this sort of marimba / steel drums melody here. And I think we're doing a different chord progression here. Let's see. No, this is actually the same chord progression. Yeah. So we have the same chord progression going. And then it's ahead of the beat a little bit too. So we're starting off with this dun dun. So the downbeat is here actually. So we do dun dun dun. So we're doing thirds again. We have a bunch of notes here, but it's like low velocity notes because a lot of what the steel drum does is it keeps on like the short notes. So it likes to do like little trills and like which means lots of notes, but they're low velocity notes. And you have the velocity going up here, and then it's trailing off. So it's sort of like creating a long note through a bunch of trills. And this is a chord tone, so it's like there's another marimba here, right? So we're establishing another marimba. And then, so basically what we're doing here is we're doing like a third. It's going in thirds, right? Because you have, actually this is fourths. No, this is moving in thirds here, right? And then you have this, so it's that same clave rhythm. Da, 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 da. Right, so you have this sort of thing, and the pitch tones that we're doing here is like A sharp major to F. We're sort of doing an accidental in A sharp, right? And then we're establishing F major. And then we have G. We're anticipating that G here before we go into it on the downbeat here. And it's an accidental in G, but oh yeah, this is an accidental in G, but because the next chord is actually A sharp. So we're establishing this A sharp here. But we start out in a different chord, like we're in as an accidental. So it's sort of like tension. We're starting out with this G here, and then we're like, oh, whoops, and then we're slipping back into that chord. Here's A sharp again. So it's sort of that idea of going from like, no, it's like we're doing F here, right? And then we're going to 4. So it's like that 4-1 again, because remember we did that for Cranky's theme. We did dun, da, da, da. So we did da, 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 do, da, da, do, da, 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 do, do, da. And then we went to 5, da, 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 do. So it's sort of like that kind of thing. We're doing that 4-1 again. But we're changing it very slowly. We're doing F major, A sharp major, F major. Oh, but then we're going to that G here. So we're going back to F. So we're going to the 5. So we're going 4. We're going 1, 4, and then 5. And then we're doing, okay, so we're basically following the same chord progression. We're doing that 6. Actually, no, this is the 5th. Yeah. That F, A sharp is the 4th. And then when we go to G, we're basically doing the 2. So it's that 2, that round chord progression. But we are doing those accidentals. So we're basically outlining that same chord progression again, right? So it's basically playing rhythm in the melody. And then we come to this small shaker here. We have a break where we have this small shaker going, where there's no melody. And there's no bass. The bass drops out to give us a chill, right? And then we go back into it. And then we have the shaker come back in for like a little bit of a change, you know? It's getting a little boring at this point. And then we skip the intro and we go straight back into that melody. But we also repeat that, a little bit of that melody before. We repeat the intro, but with other stuff going on. Hey, Doggo here with me today. So we're repeating that same intro with the melody over it, but you can't really tell it's the intro again because it's over the melody and it kind of makes sense, right? It's still an F. So it's a very smooth transition. This is Steel Drum Rhumba. That's what this track is. He's whipping me with his tail, man. You love this theme? I love this theme too. Tension and release is the rhythm of life. It's comedy, art, everything. Yes, exactly. Everything is tension and release. That's how life exists. In tension and release. I think he's leaving me now. All right. Needs more cowbell. Yes. I love that comment. Needs more cowbell. Yo, what is this DAW? It looks dope. Thank you, Brian. It's FL Studio. So we're using FL Studio. That's what I do everything in. Anyway, so that's pretty much that song. Now we can make a note that at 133 we went on to the next one, or 134. So the next one would be, I think we do the map theme. Yes, the map theme is next. The map theme has some interesting stuff going on because it's actually carrying over Jungle Hijinks. So you have that jazz part of Jungle Hijinks with the da 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 da, but it's the chord progression. We're taking that dun 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 dun, and we're kind of carrying that over. So what these chords, let's see, we're starting out with like a string section, right? Why am I not hearing anything? Wow, these strings are offline. Contact is so bad with like when stuff changes path. So we have to tell it where these instruments belong, right? We have to give it the new location because I changed the location of the drive recently. And I have to tell, and I can tell it, okay, here we go. This is where the Marcato strings is, right? And it finds it. But I have to find the exact thing. So that's cool that it only has this. So what we have here is we have an E, right? We're establishing, this is the fifth of the scale. We're in A minor for this one, I happen to know. But we're establishing the fifth so to create some tension, to create a resolution. Because the intro, we put the intro in 5, right? And then when we get into the main swing of it, we'll resolve to A sharp. We'll go. So we do this to create a quick resolution. Da, da, da. So and we're having the low strings in E, and then we're playing around with the fifth up here. So we're starting in E with an E power chord, but we're going up in a. So we're kind of going around, right? And then we start rising, right? Da, 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 until it's an octave. That's like a hit, and then we go into the main swing of things, right? So that resolution is very audible because we're going to A minor, right? So we have this, and the top note is bound. We have the third, fifth, and then the top note is bouncing from third in another octave to the root. So that's kind of cool. We have that same root home chord as Jungle Hijinks from the first game, and then in the bass we're actually doing, right? We have an E here, so we're establishing that E chord. That really dark bass. You won't even be able to hear this on a phone. It's so dark. If you're listening on a phone. And so then we resolve to A. We go straight up to A, our root chord. So we're further establishing that sort of resolution. And then in the drums, we do like a little bit of A, right? And then we're actually going to A in the timpani, which is strange. So I wonder if like maybe this is the wrong one. This is the wrong note. Or like, no, it's wrongly rooted. Like the root note is wrong, and then I'm just compensating for that. I don't know. But basically it's only the timpani, so it doesn't even matter really too much. It's mostly a drum, and it's at this point when you're that low, there's not even really a note here. It's mostly noise. Right? It's just a big boom. So it doesn't even matter if we're in A while the rest of the piece is in E, is using an E, because it's mostly noise at this point. Because at this point, that fundamental frequency, you can hear it straw a little bit here. When we go down here, that's going into the sonic frequency, so you can't even hear that anymore. So it's basically just noise at this point. And then we do da 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 da. And then we firmly establish this one. You can hear that A. That A note is here, right? That dog is tearing up tissues. Hello. So now we're resolving to A, and you can actually hear the A at this point. So we're kind of going from noise, right? So we're kind of going up, and we're furthering that resolution. So altogether, that sounds like. And so you have this snare. Now he's licking my foot. What's on my foot that tastes so good? So he has this snare going on. So we're going dum doom, and this is also like a theme from like sort of a trope from the title theme / Bubba's Reveal, where you have this low bass drum, low timpani, and then you go with this high snare roll, right? So we're having that sort of element. And then you have it gets faster, so it speeds up to the resolution, like to the resolution. So we're getting faster there and then we're ending at the resolution. So it's building tension, and then it releases on the home key. So we're into the swing, and then we're into the swing of things. That way now you're ready. You've had the shock, you've had like the big tense moment. Now we're ready to hear the main melody. So what is happening here is we have this bass in A, right? And then we have the drum in A, and then this section is going in A, so we're firmly established in A here. And so now the horn melody, we're using this French horn. This is a French horn, but it doesn't sound much like a French horn. It sounds kind of weird. The French horn doesn't usually sound like that. But it's a very strongly blown note, and it's only a single sample, so you're getting like in sort of a snapshot in time of a French horn. It doesn't really sound like a French horn. It kind of sounds like a foghorn in a way to me, and it sort of sounds like kind of folksy, you know, like almost like a oh no. Let's see. Okay, word never used. Ableton. Ableton for life. Ha. Yeah, a lot of people use Ableton. A lot of people like Ableton. I just learned on FL Studio, so that's what I stuck with. That sound is scary. I'm leaving now. Okay, we lost one. This guy got too scared. LOL, the dog. Yeah, he's great. He's in the doorway right now, staring at me, wagging his tail. Crazy. Okay, so we have this sort of French horn that doesn't sound like a French horn. Sort of sounds like a foghorn in a way, like some kind of weird ethnic horn. I guess it's sort of Irish like that. I don't know. But basically, we're doing like, okay, we're doing A to C. Da, 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 da. And so that's like a root third root. So it's sort of like that sort of thirds we established in. Oh, look, there he is again. Hello. Hello. Wanna come up? So we're sort of doing that root third riff here, like we did in the title theme, sort of having that thing go again. And then we do something interesting here. We're changing the chord progression, except it's not interesting because this is exactly what we did in Jungle Hijinks, right? We went from A minor, and then we went to E major, right? E major set E major. So that's exactly what we're doing here. We're making that motion. Oh, there you go. He's had enough of me. Now he's getting down. So so in Jungle Hijinks, we go like. So we kind of follow that. We're going from A to E major, but we're choosing a different rhythm. So right now we're going one bar in E, and then, no, one bar in A, and then we do half a bar in E. So it's like 1 5 1 1 5 1. So we're doing like a very quick E, just kind of bouncing quickly to E. So that's cool. We're basically just doing that, and then we're doing the same riff in E, but it's inverted, so we have the B on the bottom, right? And this time we're doing 5th to 3rd here. Nice. Oh, you could do here, if you wanted to make this like Jungle Hijinks, you would do in the horn, basically, if we mute out the horn here, right? And we do like, we do. So it doesn't really work that well because of the chords aren't the same rhythm, right? But it's still the same chords. So that's pretty cool. Nice little tidbit. Now, the only other thing we have is this glockenspiel going up high. And actually, that is also, once again, that bell from Ice Cave Chant. Except I think it's still in the wrong key. So and this time we're doing, except that this is in the wrong key. So this is actually an A minor chord. I think it's pitched up a 5th. So if we do this, if we set this to be what, F? Yeah, that should be right. And then we go put this back in A, then it'll make sense. There we go. So here it's following the chord progression. It's pretty much outlining it. We have, that's A minor right here. And then we go to E, but this is the 7th of E. This is an E dominant. So we're going to that E, but we're putting a dominant at the top. We can do that because we're high up. And then we go back to, we're kind of playing around with these notes here. And then we go back to A. Except we're inverting it. We have that E at the bottom. And then we keep repeat it. There's a little space in between here. So the downbeat is here, but we start on the second beat. And then we do this resolution. That's like that. That's like kind of like what Clubba's Reviel did. Oh. Very common minor cadence. And then we go up. We repeat it again. We do da da dee. This is basically A minor again. It's just we put the A up high instead of going. Go da da dee da da dee, and then we go to that E major with this third here. Da 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 da, and then we resolve to back to A minor. Dee da do do do. Da. And then I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because in the next section we basically just we have this, and then we have a little subtle timpani roll here, right? So we have so we're doing, so we have just one big timpani hit, and then we leave the timpani alone for like the rest of the 4 bars, except at the end we have a da-da-dum. And then we come, so we hit the A again, and then we come in with these snares. We have this snare doing like a military march beat. So we're kind of adding that in for some extra texture, some extra rhythm. So now that we've gotten this, like, there's like no drums going on here, and that's basically, there's no drums, the bass is legato, right? We're doing, and that the only thing doing rhythm is the string section. We're having a little rhythm in the string section, but mostly we're just establishing that melody here. We're giving you a chance to hear the melody. He's saying here, hey, look, here's the melody, and listen to this. Have it be like a full at the front, and then when he repeats the melody again in the trumpet, right? And so he's kind of just changing the instrument, but he's like, okay, let's introduce some more rhythm. Let's get this snare in here, and then we're also doing some rhythm in the bass. I think we're pretty much mirroring what the snare does. And this is basically just the strings, by the way. This bass is just the strings. Is the legato, right? We're playing them way in the bass, so it's these synth strings that we use throughout the soundtrack. So, and we're mirroring the rhythm in the bass and the snare, because the snare is like the highest pitched thing, right? It's like one of the highest pitched things. So we're doing like the highest drum and the low and the low bass to sort of give it this like wide rhythm in the wide variety, like up really high and then really low. But we're not doing it in the timpani because we don't want to build that much energy. The timpani would be too hard. We don't want to build that much energy yet. And so basically we're going a little bit higher. We're going a little bit higher in the strings. These are the same chord tones, right? Instead of doing, we're going up a little higher and we're doing So it's building more tension because we're getting higher in the strings. And then we're doing a little riff here, right? We're doing, when we go to the E, we're doing da 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 da. So we have a little dun da 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 da. So we're playing a melody, playing melodies all over the place. That's what classical music is about, playing melodies all over the place. And it's basically just an arpeggio, right? We're resolving back to that A right here. And then we're going back to that original voicing, right? And then we pick up pace. We double the timing, right? And now not only are we doing that, but we're hanging on to this E, right? Instead of going straight back to the A, we're hanging on to this, like we're creating more tension. We're getting higher. We're going up from D. This is E major 7, and then we're going resolving a little bit up to the 5th here with just this straight E major chord. Before going into the next section. And so in the bass, we're sort of doing this. We follow this, right? We go to the E. We're also following the E, going to an E in the bass. Still doing that rhythm. And so then in the timpani, we're basically not doing anything in the timpani, and we're keeping the snare the same. And then so in this trumpet, when we go to that E, we're basically hanging out on this G sharp, right? And then we rise before we get to the next section. So basically just going right up to that E. Cool. And then we go to this next section. Oh, also we have the Glock going at it. Glockenspiel. Okay, so we have that going on. We're climbing with this Glock. We're doing. So we're just kind of climbing up and then going back down, climbing up and then going back down. So when we start out doing this, we go even higher. Melody is all over the place. So even though this is kind of like combining harmony and melody, which is one thing that classical music is all about, like just because something is doing the harmony doesn't mean it always has to do the harmony. You can jump in with little melodies here and there. That's just good classical form. So we're kind of blurring. Classical music kind of blurs the line between harmony and melody a little bit, where you have sometimes there's a dedicated melody, sometimes there's harmony. It never really makes sense. So, and then we go into this next section by establishing in the bass. We do dum, dum. I can't hear it now because I muted it out. So you won't be able to hear this once again if you're on a phone because it's so deep. It's actually going even deeper than before. Where we have like some real doom stuff going on. We're going to D here. B, F, E, D, F, E. So we're definitely going. We never used a D minor in this song before, so we're definitely going into new territory. And we're mirroring that in the timpani by going dum, dum, dum. So we have this very strong doom bass. Dum, 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 dum. So we're doing E in the for that trill. Dum, 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 dum. Then we're going back to A. So we're going right back where we started. Actually, I think this is going back to E because we're doing that intro again, right? Yeah, it's going back down to E. But it's going to a lower E in the timpani. So it's going to back to that point where it's like only noise. So we're going, so it does have a sense of finality because we're going an octave down. We're going da 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 da. We're going really low here. Let's see. I forgot to read chat. This is where this at work, but I can't wait to watch this later. All right, yeah, it'll still be here for you in my live streams. Something sounds out of tune. Really? Something sound out of tune? It shouldn't be. I don't think it is. Something should be out of. To be fair, there's a lot of like tension going on in this section, so something is not really out of tune, but it might be taking a little bit of freedom. It's still cool even in different key. There you go. Everything, even in a different key, it sounds good. That's good composition. Jungle Hijinks Dramatic Remix. Yes, exactly, Laffy Taffy. I've been working on a melody for DKC2 like 5+ years. It's such a dang good OST. Working on a medley. Oh, a medley. Yeah. This is one that really lends itself well to melody. You could, because half of these songs are orchestral suites, so you could basically string it together into one regular sized orchestral suite. Yeah, I've heard it pretty frequently. Cool sample is called Tubular Bells or something. Oh, the bell in the Ice Cave chant is Ocarina of Time, don't they? I don't know if it's used in Ocarina of Time, but it's definitely not called, the Donkey Kong Country one is definitely not called Tubular Bells. It's called Fanta Bell, and it's from the Roland U220. You must be the biggest expert in the DKC2 OST. Yeah, man, I should have like a PhD in just this game at this point, or this series. Wild. Can't believe because I was like obsessed with it as a kid, and somehow I just kept like just my obsession up and turned it into what it is now. So it's like a whole PhD in Donkey Kong. DKC PhD. It's fun to say. Imagine doing a remix and making an epic boss theme. These instruments sound perfect for something like that. Yeah, it does. It's a lot of legato notes, but it is picking up some stuff, and it's going like it's very doom. It's very suspenseful, where it's not really like a boss theme. It does good at like making a doom sound, but it's not really a boss theme, I would say, but it could lend itself to a boss theme. So we're establishing this D, F, E. So dum, dum. Let's see what else we're doing. So what are these strings are doing some like rapid downward arpeggios, right? So we're keeping that same pace from here. So we're doing this. Wow, it's not even letting me play that. Why is it? I hate when FL Studio does this. Sometimes it just hijacks my... see, it makes a selection here that I never asked it to do. And then it just hijacks my playback. So now we're doing... Look, this is F major here. We're basically doing a downward chord progression in F major. Wow, the dog is like exploring around. So we're doing a downward chord progression in F... No, downward arpeggio in F major. So here we're reprising that same like thing from before where we did, except now that we got a third in there. Nice. So we're kind of doing F major and then E major. So we're going like up and down in chords in like minor seconds now. So we're doing F, da 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 da. Basically is what the strings are saying. Okay, so it's like da da dum da da dum. Okay, and then we do. And then we go back to the beginning where we do. So this is kind of like foreshadowing the bridge, right? It's foreshadowing the loop back to the beginning. So we're reprising that tune a little bit. And then we go into the real one. Brilliant writing right here. So he's basically just giving us a little bit of the bridge before the actual loop, so it's not so sudden, right? And then in the melody, or basically we're doing a little bit of harmony here. So we're kind of doing the saturation is a bit too much there. I have to reduce that. Dog is licking my foot now. Something tasty is on my foot. Nice. So we have kind of a weird chord here. We're doing F, C sharp, and D. So basically what we're saying is we have a D minor chord here, even though the bass is an F. No, the bass is not an F. The bass is actually a D. I forgot about it. We're going D, F, E. So we're establishing D minor 7. So we have the 7 here, and the root is all the way up here. So we're creating some tension with this major second. So he's doing that for tension, and then you have this third here. And then you go down here, we're still in D minor. We have an F in the bass at this point. So basically, it's like we're switching to F, right? So those strings that are doing... this is basically now a D minor 7. And then we go to F. So we're doing dum, da, dum. I feel, yeah, we're doing dum, da, dum. And so right here with the second harmony chord in the trumpets, we're having even more tension. And I don't even know, we're doing F major, right? But we still have this D, right? We have the D in the lower octave, even though we're in F major here. So it's sort of the memory of that D minor. So this is basically a D minor 9. We have the 7th here at the top, and then we have the 9th in the mid range here. But we're basically making it a second because we're having this major second again here, creating more tension. So we're creating a lot of tension here in these trumpets alone. And then you have the strings solo. And then you basically repeat this again. So it's like a chorus effect, right? So repeating this. And, oh look, it's the dog. Come on, see us. Okay, check him out. Hi. So, one way that I ended this song in like, I was basically just playing off the cleverness that already exists. I resolved this to A again by climbing up here, doing... So we're climbing up to A for a little bit of like a lot of resolution. We're going rising, and then we're doing the strings again. Dun, dun, dun. So we're doing that minor resolution of... Remember that minor cadence we talked about is like... Dun, dun, dun. Pretty cool. And then in the bass, I basically just keep the bass the same, right? We're doing resolving to here, right? Da-da-dum. And then we're dropping the bass out. So I drop the bass out here. Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Nice. So that was kind of how I thought about my ending. Let's see. Imagine doing a remix and making... Oh, yeah. Maybe it's the bell glockenspiel, but it might just be my imagination. Here, let's find out. Let's check the tuning on the glockenspiel. Let's get a tuner in here. Whoops, that's not the right instrument. Oh, I think we are out of tune. Actually, it's hard to tell with this thing. This one says B, so I guess we're a little flat. We're a little sharp, or flat. So we're a little flat. So then I just want to... Ah, okay, maybe so it's like this. No. We're in E here. I'm pushing a C note here, so this has to go to C. Going all over the place here. He just needs a little less. Basically, that's it, right? It's hard, very hard, because this one has, like, I don't know why it's so hard for the tuner. Up here it says, like, something different. This is wild. I don't even know what it is. Oh, well. Where are we? We're in the map theme. I recognize something. So here, you can hear the hear this if you want. No, that's definitely not it. Ah. It works better if I just use my nostalgia. Nice. I think that works. Yeah, it might be. That's that bell rush, probably what you were hearing. Good ear. Okay. So, hello, that PS2 guy. Welcome. Where are we? Math. Oh, map. Yeah, math. We're in the math theme. We're doing some math rock here. Okay, nice. So, I'm gonna take a break, and I have to do my laundry. So I'll be like this time. I promise I will be. I have to eat, and I have to do my laundry. So I might be 2 to 3 hours, but we'll come back and do the rest of this. Right? It's only two o'clock. So I'm good. All right, so let's take a break, and then we will come back in 2 to 3 hours. I promise. I will be here. I can guarantee it. I guarantee it. Like that commercial from the Men's Warehouse thing says, I guarantee it. You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it. Nice. All right, peace, Eduardo. We'll be back.